Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, take a hike, Memphis. And that old West Texas wall keeps some four-star talent home. Next on Locked On Texas Tech.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And thanks as always for making us your first listen. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase with the only Chris level. I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again. And on today's episode, we will dive into coming up some good news for the good guys here this week as some local talent decides to stay home. And I want to get to a story emanating from afar, but of course, one that impacts us here in Big 12 country, 806 or otherwise. And that's a really fascinating look at what some are doing out there to try and secure a seat at whatever table they perceive to be bigger than theirs currently. I'm talking about the Memphis Tigers, and you've probably seen reporting by now to suggest that upwards of $200 million or more thrown at the Big 12 Conference in exchange for membership with some other attachments as well. And apparently, take a hike is the response from the Big 12. So within that context, I want to touch on a couple of things with you, Chris, sort of maybe the impact in this type of stance as it relates to watching what peers are doing elsewhere, namely the ACC, as the ACC and the Big 12 are in some similarly, I would say, uncertain kind of territory when it comes to the future of this autonomous or power conference kind of landscape. But I'm also curious to hear from you as to what you feel like the Big 12 necessarily says here with this type of response. Because once upon a time, it was an open for business approach. But have we shuttered that approach to this point? So all of that and a whole lot more, I'm sure. But how about this story, man? $200 million offered up reportedly, and no thanks is the response.
Yeah, to quote my man, Casey Cowan, they are wearing cologne there in Memphis, and the cologne is called Desperation, brought to you by Christian Dior or Calvin Klein or whatever. But yeah, or Sex Panther, if you've ever watched that movie. 60% of the time, it works every time.
Nothing desperate about that.
That's right. It's got real bits of Panther in it. So I didn't know a lot about this, to be honest. I think it's because there wasn't a lot of real traction there. It's interesting because this was a 14-month project. It's what it sounds like on the Memphis side of things. They obviously felt strongly enough or gotten some indication that there may be a chance. So they continue to work at it and add, because you mentioned 200 million and then you get a second report that's like, it's actually 250.
Yeah.
And so, and basically saying, here's our 250, take it all. And then kick us out if you don't like us. But it will literally cost you nothing. But at face value, you're like, well, that's a hell of a deal, Memphis. Like, even though you smell bad and your cologne stinks, like, that's a hell of a deal. You just want to give us money. So, you know, the 10,000 foot money from a school like Memphis. You're also saying to the playoff folks, don't give us that extra automatic bid. We want to fight for our right to party here, and we may only get to party with one of us, but it'll be a hell of a party, even though that, you know, you're guaranteeing me a second guy gets to party. No, we want to, because you're fighting perception as much as anything. And I don't think that a couple of million per school every year over a 5-year deal is enough for the leadership in the league to say, we'll dilute the league. We'll because there's a reason Memphis is willing to come in for free. Okay. You could have had them the first go round whenever you added Cincinnati, Central Florida, BYU, and Houston, and you didn't add them. That's also part of the problem here, because I think the leadership of the league hasn't necessarily been impressed with Cincinnati, Houston, and Central Florida. And you say, well, what do you mean? Again, you have to remember, these are football conversations. So, yeah, Houston on the hardwood been stellar. These are football conversations. None of those three schools has really done much of anything at all in this league since they added it. Now, BYU, on the other hand, we see you. I see you, Coach Sataki.
Which was mostly par coming into this thing. I mean, if you would have projected it, this is what you would have projected.
Yeah, and I think that when Cincinnati was in the CFP 3 or 4 years ago.
Misleading record standpoint, we all know.
Right.
But that's the Big East.
That's why they were added, though, is some of that stuff, but they just haven't been able to replicate it. So, so you're in a position, and Calvin, I mean, I've been there, I've been on that campus, and I've been in Memphis,
Cincinnati, or you're talking Memphis?
No, I'm talking Memphis. I've been there twice in the last 4 years, a couple of bowl games. It is the first year that we went, a rental car was stolen that the football program was allowed to use for the week. Everybody was there for a few hours, and it was stolen right out of the hotel parking lot. When you go into the hotel and we were checking in, they're like, don't go out at night by yourself. Don't walk off the beaten path. And if anything after 10 o'clock, kind of on your own there, bud.
So you're saying locals are willing to share good advice, and it sounds like the entrepreneurial car selling spirit is high. I'm not hearing much of a problem. Yeah, go on.
So I only offer that up to say I don't know what the real great prize here is. I mean, they've actually won some games in recent years significantly. It's kind of Memphis and Tulane in that league right now, and this has to be a really tough blow for Memphis and the American Conference, not even the American Athletic, because the day that this gets released, it's like, hey, we rebranded. We're this new league, and we got a mascot. He's this fancy eagle and everything like that. Meanwhile, so y'all were wanting to leave us the whole time, and then Memphis has to come out and be like, we are never been more proud to be a member of the American Conference. And
we hated the American Athletic Conference. We love the American Conference.
Yeah, it's just weird timing. So I think that the league's leadership has not been necessarily just overwhelmed with positivity from the Cincinnatis, the UCFs, and the Houston specifically.
Chris, let's be honest. I think if you would have had a different kind of timeline and the Pac-12 demise would have been sped up a little bit, and maybe that happens sort of before a defection elsewhere. And, of course, then you're talking pieces in Austin and Norman and yada, yada, yada. Point being, if you just said these four or these four, and it was Pac-12 leftovers or the other four, you wouldn't have ever taken the other four. You'd have just probably settled with a Colorado, Utah, Arizona State contender and called it good.
But you were yes. You were in survival mode at the time. Yeah. Adding a 17th member for a little change, I just don't think that they're willing to, go that route. They have no interest in doing that. It creates a bunch of weird dynamics scheduling wise and all the things, and all for a couple million per school over this 5-year deal. And plus, I think that if there's any movement to be made, I think you've got your eye on these ACC schools and like what the future of that league looks like. But before you're going to get caught up into whatever, because I just there's a reason Memphis is out there to be had. And I mean, what's crazy is you mentioned the Pac-12, like this new formation of the Pac-12, which is, I guess, the best of the. You could argue that it's the best of the Group of 5 leagues. they had reached out to Memphis. Memphis was like, "No, man, we're good. We're gonna work on this. We're gonna work on this other deal."
I respect that, Memphis. I do
know,
like
and it's because they were working on this Big 12 deal, and then the Big 12 was like, "Nah, man, we're good." And so now Memphis is like, "Hey, Pac-12, you still up?" You know, I don't know.
Memphis. You don't want to get mixed up with these coastals.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so, but it's survival, man. They're trying whatever they can. They try to get real creative and outside the box, sponsorship dollars and all these things. We'll just gift this, you know.
Well, didn't SMU kind of open this door? Like, hey,
a little
anybody ever
bit
seen this before? Because it's the same protocol in a nicer location, I guess. I don't know, but most
and Dallas
for free.
Yeah, Dallas and the state of Texas. Plus, like, hey, man, you don't owe us anything. And I mean, heck, man, they're already in the CFP, like, you know, right out of the gate, pretty much. So it was.
But I get why somebody now. I don't think this will be the last. Do you? Might maybe report it where it's like, hey, this program said we'll come do this that you would have never conceived of before for membership in your league.
I'll be real.
The story blew me away at the time.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'll be real curious who has the chops to be able to even offer up something like that. I mean, SMU, yeah, it was donor based. This is very sponsorship based. We know their relationship with FedEx and all the things. And I think somebody told me, I think this is right. They're like, it's like the 52nd market in the U.S. is that Memphis. I mean, again,
solid.
You know, the whole Elvis thing, and you've got some decent barbecue and the whole deal.
Pro Shops Pyramid, Chris.
Yes, it is. And I've walked in and said Pyramid before.
Have you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You led with the car theft and the warnings, but you didn't lead with the Pro Shops.
I mean, there's like a pond in there and the whole deal, and it's a hotel and everything. Yeah. But I got to tell you, I have no desire to feel the need to have to go back to Memphis. I did see. Here was one of my other prouder moments. You're familiar with Andy Kaufman and Jerry the King Lawler and that whole thing. There's been movies made about it. David Letterman, all that. Yeah. I mean, the Mid-South Coliseum, which is an old building, but good for it for still standing there. That doesn't do anything for these purposes. It's in the parking lot of basically the Liberty Bowl. So I reminisced, and I'm like, that's some history to me. I mean, and all that, but yeah, it's I had some good food there. I could totally see why, if you're a league, you're going, do we really want this market? Do we need this market? Because the facilities are just, I mean, it's not great. Memphis basketball, you would go, what about that? Well, I mean, they just got put on probation for doing something they weren't supposed to like a week ago. Terrible timing. Terrible.
Oh yeah, they're getting tutored by the softball program, which is strange. Why not go to actual tutors? They need money too. First stop, with all due respect to the softball scholars in the audience, but I thought that was weird. Hey, we're coming up, Memphis, with all we can. We're trying to fill up the brochure. We're pointing out. I mean, Terry Waller, for crying out loud. We're doing all we can.
The King, Jerry the King Waller.
I like the thought of Memphis as a place that I know of historically.
Bill Street,
all the good stuff that's going down. Sun Records, isn't that I think. Anyway, I don't know why it stinks now, guys. I'm sorry, Memphisians, that it is what it is now, but it's not the Big 12's problem is the point. So we're going to have to go ahead and move on. But I think in some case, if there was ever a league that wanted to collect all of the most favored. First, today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Imagine watching your favorite team at the college basketball tournament live, feeling the energy of the crowd, witnessing unforgettable moments. We all know there's nothing like experiencing a big game in person, and getting tickets shouldn't be stressful. That's where Gametime comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute seats at unbeatable prices. With Gametime Picks, curation makes it even easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And the one and only lowest price guarantee, which means you get the lowest price, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Plus, peace of mind with seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and the lowest price guarantee. You can book with total confidence. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. I think in some case, if there was ever a league that wanted to collect all of the most favored first 48 filming destinations, Cincinnati, Memphis, like you'd be getting the call there, but we're already full. We've hit our Big 12 quota already. Just Cincinnati.
Oh,
sorry.
That is solid work.
Thank you.
There.
Thank you very much, Chris. But it does still seem like the business is not closed. We're still open for business, but it's just all about, at this point, any other autonomous or power conference crumbling on the back end, maybe even the top end. I don't know, but it's all looking ACC way, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think that you can actually, with a straight face, and like people go, yeah, I get it. Like that you can go, hey man, I appreciate it. I know you've been over backwards trying to put this all together, Memphis, but we're good, man. And like that has to be a tough, like what other business is there where it's like, here's $250 million. No, thank you. Oh, well, college athletics. Welcome to the strangeness of college athletics in 2025. But yeah, that's realistically like, hey, we just want to join your club. And if you don't like us, kick us out in 5 years. Like, we're cool with that. But like, let us prove our worth. I mean, like, crazy. But it's a perception deal. And again, this really speaks to Big 12 is on really good standing. They are thriving. This is a league that is there's no threat of it like crumbling or it being splintered. I don't think any of the members, some of the Utah fans get a little mouthy. I don't think they may say it, but their leadership and all that, nobody really wants to leave and nobody really has opportunities to go elsewhere. But thankfully they're in a good place. You're about to be paid better when the new TV contract starts. I guess it's this year. And so I think that is just a sign of you being in a really good spot. Now, to your point, I think this is if there's ever a realistic addition here and things start to splinter. And again, we're a ways away because this is why Memphis included, hey, in 2030. And that's the next round of media contracts. If we kick us out, if you don't see our worth or whatever, kick us out. But some of these things will start to come up in the 27s, 28s, and as it gets closer. But realistically, this is a Pitt, Louisville, Georgia Tech, Miami, those are the conversations that you would realistically be having. Anybody that wouldn't get, I don't know if Florida State and Clemson and Miami may not be. I don't think North Carolina is realistic as far as like what you could hope to add to your league. I think those are probably Big Ten or SEC. But again, this is me pretending like we know what this is even going to look like. Maybe there is no really Big 12 in 5 years anyways and all that stuff. But as far as like expansion and all that, because keep in mind, the ACC just changed their rules. Like each year that goes by now, the buyout fee is lessened. And you get now it's unequal revenue sharing because Clemson and Florida State will likely get more if they are paid or if they're on TV more. I mean, it's a TV rating space. Yeah.
Which we Big 12 fans certainly know leads to only stability and peace among all partners. So
it all goes swimmingly.
That should work out very well, I think, long term for the ACC.
Yeah, just wait till Florida State like pops out like the Seminole Network one day, and then they show Chief Osceola by the fire like the Longhorn Network used to be. Then everybody will be like real thrilled with that whole deal.
Here's a great gauge on everything if you're looking for a simple way to track some of the discontent or disgruntlement ACC way. Just kind of keep track of, say, Central Florida revenue figure and Florida State revenue figure. If they even approach neighborhoods that are anywhere near similar or things like that, then the antsiness will get to cranked up 11. I think so, but I mean, it's kind of like what we saw with the Pac-12 in a way, Chris, when you knew the math was in and you're thinking, man, USC from, say, a third-tier rights perspective or something along those lines is like in a K-State territory. I don't think they're just going to sit around and live that life for very long. It kind of sounds like this conference ain't going to work out, and that's exactly what we saw. So we'll be curious to see what we see coming out of ACC country. But as far as, you know, these additions for the conference, there's no doubt you want to be additive when you can or if you can. There's few and far between, I think, of those type of opportunities out there. You don't want to be dilutive. You've already gone that round. So the pie can afford very few to none as far as extra slices remaining to be given out. But I don't think, you know, really, I mean, we're talking about the state of the Big 12 being good and use the word thriving, and I'm fine with what it is now. It's the best of the situation that you had to deal with. You've made the best of that, certainly. And I do still feel like at the same time as I'm saying that, though, Chris, every member of the league would leave today if they had an invite to the SEC or the Big Ten. 0 members would say, I'm Big 12 strong, right? I mean, everybody would get that, I think. That's the state of affairs, because there are 2 really big tables.
I know.
There's some medium tables, and then there are a group of 5 like high chairs.
I would. You're saying that if Texas Tech got an invite to the Big Ten, they'd take it? Is that what I hear you saying?
Well, that's not the one I'd really pair them up with, but yeah, I'm saying everybody in the league, if one of those 2 leagues called and said, "Come over this weekend," and say, "We're out of here."
Yeah, I would love to give the old double rides to the Big Ten.
I don't have to worry about that, but
I know. I mean, I would.
Big Ten.
I would love to do what the Big 12, just did to Memphis and be like, "No, man, I'm good, dog. I'm good. Appreciate it."
Break out the checkbook and let's give it a ride. We'll
you can keep Minnesota and Illinois and all of that.
I think you're the benefactor to at least make that story happen. Give them a chance to say no, Chris.
Yeah, that's right. You can keep that just general boringness, and you keep it to yourself. We're good down here, bro.
That may be just why I've never even had any interest, or what. I know there's never been any interest or no path. That could also be why, but the Big Ten has never really even entered my expansion or realignment conversations over the years as it relates to Tech. I know it does for some, but let's get the head out of the clouds for many reasons. And a lot of that is just the total off the radarness of that part of the U.S. for a West Texan like me. I enjoy your cheese, your dairy, your farmer's daughters, but for the most part, I don't know what you got going on up there. Not that interested in finding out. I've seen the Iowa offense. I don't know.
It's cold. It's cold. Yeah, everybody's a bit hefty. I mean,
you got dry land corn crops, and I don't want to know people that are able to live that.
I mean, and it's a league that Nebraska still sucks in. I mean, like, it's just like, there's a bunch of, golly, I forgot that they play this, or man, this is boring. And I just, so sorry. I didn't mean to like get off on
It's all right. Big Ten beef. I got time for that.
Okay.
We can work.
And I'm sure the beef in Big Ten country is probably decent. It's not Texas, but
no, but there's some protein beef eaters out there. Sure. Red meat.
Yeah. There you go.
Red meat, dairy, combustion engines. I think they appreciate all those things up there. Chris, before we get out of here, we're talking about good vibes for the Big 12, and I got good vibes otherwise because of a story playing out here in the 806. And I got good vibes otherwise because of a story playing out here in the 806 this week, and it has to do with the local guy deciding to stay local. One of my favorite headlines in any circumstances: local boy makes good. You like to see somebody from the West Texas area or the 806 South Plains area able to do some big things really anywhere, but in a Texas Tech football uniform, that's ideal as well. So we've got a commitment to celebrate, but one that also I think, signifies one of the stated goals or objectives coming to reality for Coach McGuire, and that he wants to keep his neighborhood home. And I know that neighborhood goes beyond the LBK or beyond, say, Friendship High School, but I think for the most part, he's done a decent job of doing some of that.
Yeah, and this is one of the most unique recruitments that you could, because of a variety of circumstances that you're going to come up with on a local one. But bottom line is, this is a Wolfforth Friendship product, so that they have been a high flying offense, and you get both starting receivers. You're going to end up with both starting receivers I guess over the course of a 2-year span, and you have their quarterback and Holden Phillips that's on the roster now as well, from last year anyway. So I've known Chase for several years now. Chase Campbell's who you're talking about. The Campbells were in Waco. They were well aware of Coach McGuire and Joey and all that whenever Baylor started rolling with Coach Rule and all that. And, the reason for the move is that Chase's mom, Dee Dee, got a job up here in the athletic department. And she is one of the higher ups in the athletic department under Kirby Hocutt. Generally, I think, in charge of women's athletics, I think. And she's had this job for several years. My son and Chase played basketball together for a variety of times and summers and all that. I know Chase's dad, Marcus, really well, see him all the time. But all the while, it's like, I think I remember even seeing him at a Tech football game last year. I'm like, man, have you started thinking about all this stuff yet? And I said, your dad's going to try to get you to go to Arkansas, isn't he? And it was kind of joking because Dee Dee and Marcus, they both went to Arkansas and I think ran track there. So he's an Arkansas legacy. So I really thought Arkansas would be kind of the team to beat. I thought that's where this would play out and all those things as we looked out. Then I thought you kind of heard rumblings like 2 months ago that Baylor was really in it. He grew up in Waco. He spent a lot of his youth in Waco. There's several people there that he still knows, some of which have committed to Baylor and all the things. And he was getting some pressure and all that stuff. And I really thought, man, maybe he just wants to get out of town. But yes, Calvin, to your point, you keep a 4-star product and Chase Campbell home. He is Friendship's best player. He is a really good basketball player, although I think he's going to forgo his senior year of high school basketball and enroll early for football. I think that this is a player that I think that it's all going to point to receiver, although I'm gonna say that he is good enough and athletic enough that if you wanted to move him to something else like defensive back or whatever, he could do it. And that's a compliment. I think that he's 6'2", 200, and he's got a lot of upside that I don't think he's really reached his potential yet. I think that this was a good day for Joey because it came down to Kansas State. It came down to Baylor and Tech. Arkansas had been eliminated, and I just thought it was going to be real awkward for all involved here if he picks Dave Aranda, who I don't want to say that like Dave Aranda and Joey McGuire are exchanging Christmas cards. Maybe they are, but I don't necessarily think they are. And then you had Matt Wells at Kansas State. And so, and then, hey, your mom works here. So it's just going to be this weird dynamic, but he stays home. I think it played out a bit longer than we all kind of wondered, and we're curious as to the way it played out and how long it took. But bottom line is, man, he's cleared for takeoff on a great senior season. He'll be here in January, and the Red Raiders kept another stud at home, and that's what you want.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear too about the early enrollment opportunity possibly as well. And a guy obviously will have an opportunity here locally if you're in the 806, maybe to catch in person at some point as we roll through the fall. And really, Chris, I know that probably every coach is like, well, I want to keep the guys that are here. But I think even a little bit more incumbent upon a coach in Lubbock, Texas, USA, where you've got a population sparsely spread as it is, at least compared to what you look at in the Metroplex or Houston area. So the list of athletes that are of the caliber you're looking for is going to be more thinly populated than what you're seeing in those spots, which to me adds even more pressure to keep them home to the degree of 9.9 times out of 10, they're staying Red Raiders. I don't think you can be perfect necessarily in every scenario. And I'm sure, and good for them if they do, I'm sure there are some that sneak out and maybe aren't rated what they should be whenever they're leaving Lubbock and they go elsewhere and just make a hand because they're able to do that. But I think it makes it even a little bit more glaring sometimes whenever you miss a guy here or there that you let get away as a known commodity or otherwise that turns out to be an impactful player. And we felt it plenty of times before, but maybe it's a little easier to remember these names whenever they come. I don't want to say rarely, but the list is obviously never as long as what you're talking about with DFW or around Houston, things like that. So I'm glad that this trend maybe is one Coach McGuire will keep running in the right direction.
And it's always tricky on the local product, right? Because what happens is, and you've seen this play out over a variety of years. I mean, we can go back 20, 30 years. It's like the really good one ends up going to Texas or Oklahoma or far off or whatever. But then the some of the coaches around town, they want you to take the one that maybe is not quite as good, right? And so it's good to see like a really good one stay home, I guess is my point. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, it's like, man, I know I couldn't deliver or help you get so-and-so, but hey, do you mind taking so-and-so? I mean, he'd have a chance to make you a hand.
Sorry, buddy. Tom Cruise makes the artsy film after the blockbuster.
Yeah.
I need the 5-star if you want me to work on.
Yes. So, anyways, but it's nice to see that worm turn a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's all about trying to. On the rare occasion where you do get a true blue chip and like a really big time guy in the 806 or in parts close by, it is nice to keep them at home. So
got to reel them in.
Yeah.
Got to reel them in. And impeccable parenting. I can only assume the guy's got great judgment. So just really reflects well on the entire family that he went ahead and went guns up mode here this week. All right, Chris, appreciate your time. As always, we remain eternally in guns up mode, and that includes the remainder of this week. So still looking forward to plenty more to dive into, and we'll see you for the next one.
Bang, bang. The recruiting news, I mean, you mentioned like local boy, but it never sucks either when it's like four-star commits to Texas Tech and all that stuff. So that's certainly a positive. It's been a good June and July for Coach McGuire on the recruiting trail. As far as recruiting goes, I guess the Big 12 wasn't trying to recruit Memphis. Memphis was trying to recruit the Big 12. And so hopefully we try to paint that picture well for you. But keep hope alive, people. Talk to everybody next time.
Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Appreciate you for being out there every day. If you fit that category, you're an everydayer, and I'm talking about you specifically. And thanks to the Matador Mob, of course, as well, for being out there. Hit the show notes and find a link to a free 14-day trial. That's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time, and we hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.